Welcome to In the Garden. Today we're looking at the top 10 insect problems in eastern New Mexico and West Texas. So as promised, the top 10. Now I'm not going to say that they're necessarily in the order of what's actually happening because they're all pretty nasty right now. But we got roaches, flies, mosquitoes, ants, spiders of all types, fleas, ticks, earwigs, centipedes, moths. I can maybe go on, but that's what I'm seeing everywhere I go and spray for people. Number one I had was roaches, Mike, because they are absolutely going crazy. If you get up at night and you go out and you haven't sprayed, literally, this one house I went and did, they were probably 75 to 100. I'm going up and down the sidewalk from the back porch out back to the alley because they were getting cat food, dog food, maybe even scraps out of the garbage. See, this is part of your key. Make sure on roaches, any insect, let's keep the trash in the dumpster and hauled off. I don't care if it's groceries, clothes, newspapers, whatever. The more clutter you have around a home, the more bugs you're going to have. Now, to control roaches, let's talk about that. If you're going to do it yourself, let me show you something. I think you can't use 38 plus inside the home, and I don't have any 20% of the permethrin for indoors, and it's called Home and Garden, but it's safe enough to use in your house. It's really going to be the most broad spectrum because that's just one of our issues is roaches. But the thing about that product is it kills all of everything I'm talking about. So we're multitasking in this section. Always use surfactant. Remember that. Always use surfactant. Now, if I come and spray for you indoors, and you may be able to find this, I'm going to go ahead and use tempered because it's low to no odor. It also does just about every insect, including earwigs and termites. Now, this is what I put in with this for my cockroaches. Now, you cannot buy this without a pesticide application license. Number two, as we rotate, was going to be flies, but flies is going to be something you're just going to have to, they don't eat any kind of, foliage or anything like that. They're strictly after your bits of cat food and your garbage particles and things like that. So that's just going to take persistence. Probably either using this fogger that we like so much.
Yeah, we saw that in a previous episode.
Yes, sir. This is, a lot of folks are using this and enjoying it on the moths, flies, mosquitoes, everything. Number three is mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes?
That was an easy transition.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the mosquitoes and the flies, they seem to like cohabitate. So, but with all the rain, now let's go ahead and back up a second on the mosquitoes. I believe my house went up in value because I've got a new lake down here called Goodwin Lake.
Right.
So I've got lakefront property now. Just walk 2 blocks. But with that, it's going to be massive mosquito infestation. I sprayed my yard last night because I had them. They were coming literally into my eyeballs, it's mosquitoes,
Wow.
But they hate me because I've killed generations of their family members. But you definitely are going to have to do this stuff every 10 days or 2 weeks right now. And I'm not telling you the chemical's not working right. It probably is. I'm just telling you that's how much humidity. It's a nice thing to have in the sense of having moisture versus being a desert like we were. Now, number four, I went ants.
Ants, okay.
Because they were bad before the rain, and now they're bad still.
Now, can we separate the ants out from the kind you're getting outside to those little ones that crawl up your drain pipe and get inside?
Those are coming in through your windows and your door sills, and they're called pharaoh ants. Most people call them commonly sugar ants. On the ants, indoors, I'm going to use something like the tempered or tempo. Tempo is definitely available. Tempo is online, can be bought. tempered in a different form than this, which this is the termiticide. Again, we're going to use that kind of sprayer indoors, that little pump up. We're not going to use a big hose end sprayer, or like if I come spray for you, I'm going to use this baby.
That's the big one.
That's the biggie. That's the way we got to go with ants. And believe me, don't let them get out of control. There is also ant gel baits that you can put gel, G-E-L. You run a little stream right along, say, the countertop wall intersection. You put it down and just in little strips, and the ants come to it.
Gotcha.
So, number 5, spiders. Gosh, let me count the waves. We got black widows going right now, brown recluse, all kinds of wolf spider. Oh gosh. A lot of this stuff is commonly cured. But see, this is another thing. If you want to use a dry, that turf ranger will go down real well as a dry bait. Now we're fighting grasshoppers, ants, fleas, ticks, roaches, you name it. And that's, a lot of people just don't like liquids. Spiders, though, on the indoors, you're going to have to do the corners up high. They're not going to live down low. They're always up here in the corners, and you don't want to mess around with them this time of the year. Get them. They're very, very dangerous for children. The next 2 I've got, to me, are kind of one and the same: fleas and ticks. And I sprayed around a house in Muleshoe yesterday. It grossed me out. I'm serious. And I have seen a lot. So now I had nightmares last night.
So with the fleas and ticks problem, obviously a lot of people have pets, and frequently the pets will suffer because of the fleas and ticks, especially the ticks.
Well, and the other thing is it was unmowed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the Amazon jungle to a flea or tick. Cockroaches, same thing. So the one I was working on had feral cats there.
Uh-huh.
So I had to use my Consan 20 to get rid of the ammonia smell of the cat urine.
Right.
So I feel quite strongly that the fleas and ticks were there because, as we say, if you build it, they will come, and I believe that's what they had done.
Right.
But when I went up to spray around, it was a very nice double wide that was getting sold. I was doing a baseline spray for them with my Iron Horse, the big sprayer, and literally the ticks were moving right in front of me. I mean, it was just gross. They get taken into the house by like children and your pets, like you were mentioning.
Is that like on your feet and things like that?
Well, for example, a flea or a tick. So if I had them out here, which I don't, but I was out here mowing or weed eating or whatever, they'll jump on you. They'll hitch a ride, is what I call it. They'll get on your shoes and your cuffs.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go in, and maybe you don't just immediately change clothes, or you go and put them on your couch or something.
So they're hitching a ride on the bus, and then it's time to get off.
Then they wait until you lay down or sit down and go to sleep, and they go, gotcha. Now this one has been a real nasty one. This is a creature off of Star Trek, earwigs.
Yeah.
The episode where they pull it out of
somebody's ear?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It was a giant one. Well, that really is a real insect, an earwig, and it can get in, thus the name, your ears. But they are out here, and I do power shoot all this a lot, but I want to show you where their habitat is this right in here. See how I've got some foliages off the hailstorm here?
Mm-hmm.
So that eventually will just turn into mulch, but if I don't spray it, then I rake that back, the earwigs will just be there everywhere, and of course eventually through the threshold on the door,
right.
And boom, they're in the house. Don't mess around with earwigs. Get them killed, take care of them. I'm going to tell you to go ahead and use that 20% permethrin on those, because they are bad. Or get you some of the Tempo tempered. That'll be fine. Also, the last one I should have had up there at the top is moths. They are going crazy, but they are in a reduction mode right now because of the rain.
Mm-hmm.
They do literally That's why they're nasty up here, because they're trying to stay out of the water.
Right.
And they're coming in your windows and your door sills and things like that. So obviously, I'm going to go straight to the Fertilome fogger over there for indoors and patio situations because of how friendly it is to use. And we did show the use of that in one of our previous, didn't we, Mike?
We did.
Okay.
And those, like you say, with the moths, every time you open the door, the window,
yes, sir.
It's like having a telemarketer calling you all hours of the day.
And that's the beauty of that product right there in the fogger, is that also is great to have for your flies and mosquitoes. So like tonight, I'm going to have my grandkids over and we're going to eat burgers. So I'm going to turn these lights on and I'm going to use that fogger before they get here. And it just, it comes down like this. And
right.
Really is a multi-purpose, multitasking product. Centipedes is what I had last. Now centipedes are going to be a lot more prevalent if, let's say, you're on a home that has maybe 2-3 vacant lots across the street from you. Possibly you've got big tall weeds in your alley. Not good, not good at all. Lots of gravel that never gets sprayed because that's why people put gravel in. They think that's
going to keep it away.
Yeah, but centipedes and roaches love that.
So what attracts them to a house if you do have them nearby? Is it the same thing, the food?
Food, they eat other insects. Okay. They will actually eat a cockroach, which people think that's good, but they bite people too.
Right.
You know, a centipede's pretty scary looking. It definitely came to Earth, probably on an asteroid. You know, I think that's how a lot of this stuff migrated here. But the thing about centipedes is that they eat some of the most nasty things, like dead mice and dead coyotes and deer. So they have this funky bacterium all over them. So that's usually, people don't really get sick that bad normally off of their venom. They get sick of the bacterium that's living in them.